Good morning, team. Welcome to Wednesday's webinar. I have Oxford with us today. Chad Neese is joining us. He's going to go over some really good things, some updates with the underwriting and the contracting, go over products, show you a little bit about the website. So all good things. And Chad, take it away.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be on here today and review Oxford Life with everyone. I've got a little bit of a cold, so I may kind of pause here and there, but the good thing, I'm not contagious over Zoom or through a computer screen. So. With that, though, I did want to, a few different agenda items. One, just some of the changes that we've had here at Oxford Life, review those underwriting, that process, why Oxford Life, some of our contracting, and then also take you through our website where we can look at the quote calculators, how to do business with Oxford Life and everything else. But I figured the easiest way to start, if everybody's okay with it, just to take you through a PowerPoint, just because this will help me kind of stay on track and make sure I cover a few of the things that we want to talk about. So is that showing up on the screen okay for you?
Yep.
Okay, except it's not starting from the beginning. So everybody's seeing all the slides that you get to sit through, but I'll make these pretty quick. First off, it's my contact information. That's me. And those are the states that I represent. I'm the Eastern Regional at Oxford, but we really don't get hung up on territory. So no matter where you're at, where you're listening in from, however I can help, whatever I can do for you, just reach out to me. Let me know what you need at Oxford. I am based in an office, you see here, that I have in Indianapolis, Indiana. So that's the reason for the 317 area code. That's my office line and then my email address. So feel free to call any of those, reach me on any of those, text, again, whatever you need and however I can help. Now, Oxford Life, just in case you're not familiar with us, we are A-. That's an excellent rating from AM Best. Just recently moved to a positive outlook with AM Best. So definitely trending in the right direction. And we offer really three product lines, life, annuity, and MedSup. Now, whenever you do contract to Oxford Life, you have access to everything that we offer, all of those products available to you. Now, with Equus in particular, our kind of best foot forward and our really primary focus, our flagship product, if you will, is final expense. And we're going to talk more specifically about that here today. Oxford Life, we're based in Phoenix, Arizona, and we have been since 1965. This slide's always fun to bring up just because it's one of those little fun facts, but Oxford Life, we're owned by Amerco, and it's important to look closely at that. It's AMERCO. It looks just like another carrier that you guys have. We have no affiliation to them. Amerco is a holding company. They own Oxford Life, North American, Christian Fidelity, a handful of other insurance carriers. But what's notable there, Amerco, the holding company, owns us. They also own U-Haul. So U-Haul is kind of like our big brother, if you will. If you visit our home office out in Phoenix, you'll find two big U-Haul buildings out on the front of the street. Oxford Life sits in a building just behind it. And we have a lot of shared services with U-Haul, like our legal, HR, all that stuff runs through them. In fact, if you order supplies, you might notice they come to you in a U-Haul box. So those shared services, I think, bring a lot of value, though, to us, agents, clients, everybody, because it lets us kind of stay lean and mean as far as the company's concerned, in which we put a lot back into our product, our pricing, the commissions, and everything else. So anyway, I think the biggest benefit of it is that maybe if you don't know Oxford Life or maybe your clients don't, I'm willing to bet everybody does know U-Haul. 90% of America, there's a lot of brand familiarity there with it. So reasons, hopefully you're doing or think of doing business with us. It's our financial strength, about $2.6 billion in total assets. That's just Oxford Life, A- rated. Unique competitive products, top level commissions, point of sale decision, underwriting, which we'll discuss and kind of talk about here as well. Now, the products specifically, again, whenever we look at our life lineup, we do final expense and we do a couple of single premium life options. Now, Assurance, that is the name of our final expense product. This is kind of the traditional pay-as-you-go final expense option. So we also have, along with it, Assurance One. This is considered final expense, but just as the name indicates, it's Assurance One. It's a single premium product. It's meant to be paid for in just kind of a lump sum payment. Now, I'll go ahead and highlight that product real quick because you will come across this, and it does really open up, I think, a whole lot of doors for you from just kind of a client scenario. But again, Assurance One, one-time lump sum single premium. A lot of people will then say it's tough to get people that can pay for final expense on a monthly basis, let alone lump sum. But where you want to think of Assurance One, it's whenever you've met with a client, maybe they have final expense in place, they've got cash value accumulated inside of the policy but can't afford future payments. Assurance One lets you take that cash value and do a 1035 exchange or a tax-free exchange from that policy and that cash value into a paid-up option like Assurance One. More commonly, and this is where you'll see it, there's just thousands of them out there, but old UL policies. Somebody that bought a UL years ago at these rates that just can't keep pace. So now they've got some cash value accumulated inside, but they're having to pay larger premiums. Premiums are increasing, the cash value is decreasing, so eventually the policy kind of blows up on them. They have no coverage at all. So a lot of people have called our Assurance One a rescue product, if you will, where you take the cash value in those old ULs, 1035, or again, tax-free exchange into a paid-up option like Assurance One, and you've got your final expense coverage. So here's an example. A 76-year-old female. She's got, say, $5,000 in cash value in this old UL, can't afford these future payments. 1035, that cash value into a paid-up option like Assurance One, $5,000 maybe becomes $8,000, $9,000 worth of paid-up death benefit, no future payments. She wants more coverage. She can buy more through Assurance. And it's all point-of-sale decision. You'll know in a matter of minutes whether or not the client's approved for it. So just kind of keep that in mind as I go through some of the underwriting process. It is identical from the Assurance to the Assurance One. So are the product features. It will go to as little as a $5,000 face amount, which also makes it pretty unique. Now, one thing you may already be familiar with Oxford Life, familiar with us, it's that we're kind of a low-cost provider. That's always been our thing and part of our competitive advantage. So on the screen here, you can see a female, non-tobacco. This is $10,000 of coverage, and these are the monthly premiums. We actually issue ages 50 to age 85, but kind of for a comparison purpose here, 55 to 80. That's us in the blue, some of the notable competition out to the right. So it's just to kind of show you that, hey, anytime you do offer us, we'll be some of the best price available. If we're not the best, we're always right there within dollars or more likely cents of it. Same thing for your male. This is a non-tobacco, monthly premiums. That's Oxford in the blue, competition out to the right. And the reason we like to stress this, it's because, with final expense, I think in particular, it's important that you've got competitively priced product. Because, as the saying goes, it's not just about the business that you write, but it's about the business that you keep. And whenever you're a low-cost provider, we can tell you that the business you write with us tends to stay around and stick a little bit better. Just because 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months from now, somebody's not visiting your client and trying to save them maybe $4 or $5, $8 a month in premium for the same amount of coverage. Or maybe trying to buy that client's beneficiary an extra $4,000 or $5,000 worth of death benefit for the same premium. So again, it's just important that you've got competitively priced product, and rest assured when you offer us and put Oxford on the table, it will be time in, time out some of the best rate. Some other things that we do to help your business stick, for your clients that are already on a Social Security payment, so our Social Security deposits, we will draft from their account, from their bank account on their Social Security draft date. You can see it a little bit on the screen. I know it gets kind of tough to read, but just as the calendar goes, and it's a 2018 calendar, but the idea is that how many times do you sit with a client and you try and match up their premium or their draft date to their Social Security payment date? And that works maybe for the first month, but then it bounces around. Well, with us, we bounce that draft date around along with the Social Security payment. Example, your client receives Social Security payments on the second Wednesday of every month. So in August, that was the 8th. September, that's the 12th. October, it's the 10th. So we move that draft date around every month to match up and hit the moment that the Social Security payment does. So on September 12th, we go in, we draft the moment their Social Security payment hits. So as long as Social Security payments are good, so is the final expense draft. And we can tell you, we've been doing this for now about almost 2 years. And when you use this feature, it's remarkable how much the persistency improves, and as a result, you're trailing commissions along with it. It's real easy to find. On the e-app or the paper app, you just indicate Social Security draft date, second, third, or fourth Wednesday. And with this feature, we can push the initial draft date out as much as 45 days. So that's a lot of flexibility. You can sit with a client today and again, push out that initial draft for as much as 45 days to match up to that Social Security payment. A couple other real quick product features. We do advanced death benefit. That's a terminal illness rider and also a common carrier rider. These are automatically included. There's no additional cost for it. There's no additional underwriting. Everywhere where our product is approved, this is part of it. Terminal illness says that your client can get up to 100% of the death benefit if they're diagnosed as terminally ill. So they've got $20,000 of coverage, diagnosed, again, not expected to live next 12 months. They can take up to the full $20,000 if they want. Common carrier says that if your client's killed as a fare-paying passenger, plane, train, automobile, Uber, anything like that, that $20,000 becomes $40,000, $30,000 becomes $60,000, so on. Again, these are part of the contract, no additional underwriting, no additional cost for it. A couple of these other product features, we do ages 50 to age 85. That's age actual or age at the time of the interview. Again, 50 is our minimum up to a maximum of age 85. Now, this might be the most popular question we get at Oxford Life, but we have really just two classifications with our underwriting. You're either a male or a female, and you're either standard or preferred. And standard and preferred comes down to really just your tobacco use. If you're a tobacco user, you're considered standard. If you're non-tobacco, you're preferred. So anything that you quote with us will be one of these two categories. Again, you're either male or female, and you either use tobacco or you don't. So non-tobacco users, again, quote those clients as preferred. There's nothing else on our application that moves you from preferred to standard other than their tobacco use. So it's a really kind of black and white process, really easy to get, really easy to quote. In addition, we don't do banding. We don't do modified. We don't do graded benefits, which I think a lot of people have kind of come to appreciate about us. That means that it's not one of those like, hey, if you live 2 years, you get this death benefit, or you get this amount during the initial 2 years. If you're approved for coverage with us, which in a matter of minutes and really sometimes seconds, whether or not the client's approved, but it will be for day one coverage, immediate death benefit. I sit down with a client today, I quote them $15,000 worth of death benefit for $67 a month. I get their approval, that's it. There's no additional underwriting that takes place at Oxford Life when we get it into the home office. They're approved. It's for the $15,000 of death benefit, and it's for the premium I've just quoted them. Nothing else will change on that. And it is, again, day one immediate death benefit. They have $15,000 of coverage from that initial draft. We do annual, semi-annually, and monthly payment options. Monthly does need to be on some kind of a draft for I think everybody's benefit. Issue amounts, we do 5 up to 30,000 on our final expense. That is the minimum and max, 5 to 30. And again, we'll build some cash value for emergency. This is a level death benefit. It's a level premium product. Now, just a couple other quick things here that help, I think, differentiate Oxford Life. One of them, it's 48-hour policy issue. Now, that's not without fail, but pretty close to it. If you get us an app in good order, and I'll stress that, it's in good order. We're assuming you're already contracted, you're already active with Oxford Life. But remember, we're going to underwrite it right then and there while you're with the client. So now all we need to do is get a good, clean application. We'll have that policy issued within 48 hours and on its way back out to either you or your client, and your commissions paid that night. We pay on policy issue. So as an example, Wednesday's a good day to use. So you're already active with Oxford Life. You go out, you write a policy today, and you complete the underwriting. You get us an app, everything's good. We will have that policy issued by Friday, and your commissions paid that night, regardless of the first draft date. So we might not draft for another 2 weeks, whatever it is, but again, we'll issue that policy and we pay you on the policy issue date. If you're using Social Security draft date, that can be as much as 45 days in advance. We do 6 and 9 month advance as options as well. Mobile app, smartphone, tablet, you can get instant access to rates from your mobile phone or your tablet. I'll highlight that here in just a second. We also have an e-application. So you can do an e-app with us, just hit submit, straight from your mobile phone, straight from your tablet, whatever you want to do. You can still do paper apps and scan those, email them, upload them, or fax them in, however you want to get it to us. Pretty much every option available to you. And finally, I think one of the really great things about Oxford Life, we do 24/7 underwriting. If you're familiar or maybe you used Oxford Life in the past, really ask that you try us again because we've kind of overhauled, plan the U-Haul, but we did an overhaul of our underwriting where we used to go through all of the underwriting questions with a client. And, we then run prescription history, MIB. We got away from all that stuff. And right now what we do, it's basically just called InstaWrite, where we still give you that same point of sale decision. You'll still know in just a matter of minutes whether or not your client's been approved. But we just, again, kind of sped up the whole process for you. We really just ask some basic questions of the client. Name, address, social security number, date of birth, and we ask permission to run prescription history. Because that's all we're doing with it. It's strictly prescription based. We no longer do an MIB. So there's some advantages to that. Since we don't run an MIB, if your client's not approved with Oxford Life, it's not a decline on their MIB. They're just simply not approved with Oxford Life based upon their prescription histories. So again, let's just look a little bit about how this process works. Step 1 is the application. Every scenario, every case needs to start with an application at Oxford. Whether you do paper or e-app, you want to walk through the application because this is how you pre-qualify a client with us. Roll through the application questions. They need to be able to answer no to all of our health questions. We do rules-based underwriting, so that means if they answer yes, we're not going to be a fit. That means, hey, kind of put us back in the bag, try us next time. But again, a yes answer means they will not qualify for coverage. We start out with height and weight. We've got a build chart available to you. It's a pretty friendly build chart. But then there's another series of 13 questions where they all need to be answered no. Most of those are going to be 24-month look backs, things like heart attack, cancer, stroke. We do still hear that we're very friendly with diabetics, an area to kind of keep us in mind. But they need to be able to answer no to our health questions. Assuming they do, you've got the app now knocked out. They pre-qualified, and we need to complete an assessment. And the assessment can be done one of 2 ways. You can do an online assessment, which is that 24/7 access to underwriting, or you can call up Oxford Life at the number there on the screen. It's also right on your application. You don't really need to worry about taking it down. But you'll speak with one of our processors that asks you a couple real quick questions as to speak with your client, and then we give you the decision. That's it. You get that qualified, not qualified result in a matter of minutes. Now, here's where I think I'll get away from the PowerPoint. Rather than kind of show everybody on a screen what it looks like, I'll pull you back into the website so you can see it kind of firsthand. But I will pull up, as I say that, the phone version. Because with Oxford Life, this is a good part maybe to kind of tell everybody and remind you. With our contracting process, we worked real hard to get this done, and really mostly for Equus, Surance Bay and Sure LC contracting. So you can now contact or contract with us through Surance Bay Sure LC. Nice, easy contracting, but we are a just-in-time contract. So that means we activate you once your first piece of business is received. So that first piece of business does need to be a paper application with a phone call. So I'll show you where you can download the app, or we can send it to you, mail it to you, however you want to get it. But you need to do a paper app and then this phone call. So whenever you do that, you'll pre-qualify the client. You'll call up Oxford Life at this number here. They'll ask you for your agent ID. Just tell them it's pending. Tell them you're with Equus. And then we're going to ask for your client's name, gender, date of birth, social security number, height, and weight. We then ask for your client's permission to run their prescription history. We'll ask for the phone to be handed back over to you. And within a matter of really seconds from that point, you'll have your decision, approved or not. That whole phone call is on average about 6.5 minutes from the time we answer to the time you've got a decision with the client. And again, that is a true point of sale. No additional underwriting needs to take place. You'll either have coverage or not following that 6.5 minute phone call based on the prescription history. So the hours of operation for the phone call, it's Monday through Friday. It's 8 to 7. We try to make this really flexible as well. You can call back with your client another day, get them on a 3-way call. You can schedule a call for the client. We'll call them back the day they want, the time they want, call you back with a decision. It really is super flexible. But those are the options in which you can access the phone call if you want to do the phone call assessment. Remember, a couple different ways. Paper app or e-app, always needs to be done. Knock out that app. Now knock out the assessment, either phone call or online. But that first one does need to be a phone call because we don't yet have you access, or you're not yet quote unquote active to get access to the website. So from here, I'm going to pull everybody over to the Oxford Life website. Am I doing okay on time? Everything going all right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So here we are looking at Oxford Life website, and this is really nice and easy to get to, just oxfordlife.com. And everything I'm going to show you here right out of the gate does not require that you log in for it. So again, just oxfordlife.com. And you can see here some tabs up top about Oxford. You can look at some of the product detail.
Hey, you still see the PowerPoint. If you go to share, you can do different variations of share.
Sorry. Okay, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I better get back to that. All right, let's see here. Okay, cool. Yep, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that it? Okay, cool. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so at the Oxford Life website, again, just oxfordlife.com. Here's about Oxford. You can go into some of the product detail if you want. But right now, I'm just going to click on this agent button. And the agent button will, there we go. Okay. It pulls up all of these options here. You can see I can log in, but I don't need to. So right now, I'm going to click on the agent forms button. And this is going to allow me to go down to the section where I can now select the company, Oxford Life. I select the product and our traditional final expense, that's the assurance. and let's say the state. So let's just say I'm going to write in Florida. Now it's going to pop up all of my necessary forms. So right here's where I can download and print my application. Again, I didn't log in for it. I can open this up if I need to. We won't. But that's where you can access the app. I can email it, print it, whatever I want. The replacement form, other forms you might want are all in here. The product brochures, the current rates. I can get our rate card calculator, all of those things right there from the site. I'm going to go back up top, and now I'm going to click on the calculator. So here's how you can quote Oxford Life. I think we're also available on the Equus site, but easy to get to from Oxford Life's website or from our mobile app. Just search Oxford Life mobile office from your smartphone, from your app store, and you can download the same quote tool. But from the website, this is what it'll look like. You can see here some of our other calculators. We want, of course, the final expense. So I click on this, and it lets me run it for selected coverage amount or selected premium. So let's just say, for example, we're going to do the selected coverage. So I'm going to put in a valued client. We do need to get the client's birthday put in. So I'm going to put in 02, let's say 24 of 1942. We go with the effective date, which let's say I'm meeting the client today. So it's the 4th. And that's going to automatically calculate my age. And then over here, I'm just going to indicate the amount of coverage that I want. We do 500 increments. You can do any amount if you want. But let's say I want 15,000 of coverage. And again, nicotine, yes or no. Monthly, annual payments, however I want it. We're going to do monthly, and I calculate the premium. So from here, let's see, should be, there it is. Okay, so now I've got my premium up on the screen. There's my coverage amount, non-nicotine, monthly. This would be personalized for your client if you want it. You can print it, leave it behind with them, send it to them, however you want it. But here is the monthly premium, $162.07. You can play around, you can move those. And again, I can also do a premium solve. Same idea, right? Put in, client information. I'll go back to that real quick. 1942, and it's the 4th. So I'm going to calculate the age. And now I just want to solve it for how much my client can afford. They can afford $100 a month for final expense. So I put in the $100. Again, there's no nicotine. I want monthly premium. I roll down here to calculate, and there it is. There's my, for $100 a month, they can purchase $9,138 worth of coverage. Nice, kind of easy to use. Again, no required sign in, anything like that, just to get to the calculator. And really do encourage you to also download the mobile app. It's just as easy to use, kind of the same idea, the same format right there from your phone. Now, with that, and I know I've just got a couple minutes left here, but I will take everybody into the password portion. So now I'm going to go back out to agents. And let's say now that you've written your first Oxford Life case, you're fully active with Oxford Life, you've got your agent ID, you've registered it on the website, so you've got a username and a password. So I want to take advantage of one of the really cool features at Oxford Life, and that's that 24/7 underwriting. So I go in, and I'm going to sign in to the website. Sorry, I've got to move this button. Okay, so, all right. So now I'm going to sign in, and this is what it looks like once, again, you're active on the Oxford Life website. So over here, you'll have your personal information. You've got My Documents where you can look at your commission schedules, general information. Under My Tools, this is where I can access my e-app. The e-app is nice and easy to use. Click on it. I won't go through a demo of it, but it's one of those you just kind of plug and go, right? Create new app, It'll ask you what state, has you fill in all the required fields. It'll store your incomplete, pending, and completed applications. You can also access your forms. Here's where you can download or order supplies if you want, any and all of that information. I want to show you the InstaWrite feature. So I mentioned we need to first do an application with the client, the paper or the e-app. So once we've pre-qualified the client, we need to now run that prescription history. If they've answered no to the questions, we find that 87% of the time the client will be approved with Oxford. We just need to run and get that kind of confirmation, that prescription check. Here's how you can do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, anytime you want it from the website. It works great for weekends, weeknights, or maybe even your foreign language clients. We don't need a translator. You just go into the My Tools section, go into InstaWrite, and from here, you'll see that now, wait for it to pull up, but here's where I've got my company. I'll pull up Oxford Life and the product, which again, our final expense is assurance. I put in the client name, their address, social security number, their gender, date of birth, their height and weight as it appears on the app, and then again, whether or not they're nicotine, tobacco user. We need to then read off or have the client read this disclosure. This gives us permission to run their prescription history. I agree to these terms, and I can request the assessment. That is everything we need to run an online approval. So if I've got that information, just that basic information right there entered in with my client, and again, let's imagine this is 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. I just did an application. They've answered no to the questions. I now want to get my online approval. I put in that information. I go down here to request assessment, and once I hit that button, in a matter of seconds, we ask for 60 seconds. I've had people come back and tell me they've timed it. They've got a decision and approval in a matter of 8.3 seconds. That quick, that fast, that efficient. So again, it will pop up right there on your screen, approve or not. You will know 100% of the time with Oxford Life at our point of sale process whether or not they've been approved. So again, I highly recommend the online version. We've tweaked this. We've made it so much better. It used to require an email address. It no longer does. You're looking at everything that we need to be able to run that prescription history and get a decision right there at point of sale. If you use this version, there is no need for a phone call. You don't need to call in. All you need to now do is get us that application, either the e-app or fax, scan, upload the paper app to us. We'll match it up with this online assessment. Again, if everything's in good order, we're going to have that thing issued within 48 hours, commission paid, and it on its way back out the door in 2 days. So a really nice kind of smooth, hopefully easy issue process. And again, you just find it in your My Tools under InstaWrite. And this is assuming that you're already active and appointed with Oxford Life. So again, that first application, I'll stress that, unless you're in a pre-appointment state, it does need to be a paper app, and you can access it straight from the website or contact me. We'll get it to you. And it does need to be that phone call. After that, we'll get you activated and availability to access the e-app or the e-assessment. And then from there, you can track other things like my business, commissions, just general information from the website. But that's kind of an inside look at some of the online tools. Again, the InstaWrite, whether you use a phone call or the online version, our process, it really is quick. It's simple. It's easy. It's guaranteed point of sale decision. It's some of the best rates in the industry for final expense, and a quick turnaround, quick commission for everyone that uses it. So I don't know if questions, but wanted to just again say thank you. We really do appreciate the Equus relationship and look forward to bigger, better business. So.
Hey, Chad, we've got a few questions.
Okay.
Chad, it's Jerrod Ewing. How are you?
Oh, hey, Jerrod. Hey, great.
Hey, you didn't think I wasn't going to watch you, did I?
There we go, man. All right.
Hey, I appreciate you getting on, man. I had a couple questions. So obviously you guys made huge leaps to change all this stuff. So thank you so much for doing that. I know you've been trying to get us to sell more with you for a long time now. So we got you. This makes it a lot easier. But I got a question on the single premium stuff, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's super undervalued. I know you guys mentioned doing the rollovers from like old UL products. Are you guys still seeing a lot of single premiums come in? Because you guys are one of the only carriers left that are doing single premium product.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jerrod. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for being on. We especially, I know there's a whole lot going on down your guys' way, so weather-wise, but the single premium, we do two versions of it, and we're unique in a handful of ways. One, that we do still offer single premium, but secondly, that we can go down to as low as a $5,000 face amount. There's not many out there that'll do it. So depending upon the client's age, we can get down to as little as maybe $2,300, $2,400 worth of premium to fund a final expense option. That'll go from $5,000 up to $30,000. And if you run across those bigger cases, $30,000 and over, we've got you covered. It's just a different product. It's called Prosperity Select, and it goes from $30,000 up to about $200,000 or so of death benefit.
Can you
decision?
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that. Can you explain a couple things about that? Because I used to write quite a few of those single premiums. They're really good products. Can you explain kind of the process behind when somebody gets finds, like, so say I'm in a client's house right now, identify that they have a 30 or 40-year-old UL or even a whole life that they're still contributing to. Can you talk about the process of when it goes to you guys, what you guys do with it, and then how quick it turns around?
Sure. Yeah, you bet. So I'm sitting, or you're sitting with a client. We could quote it really quick too. Again, from either the website or your mobile app. You can pop in here and just roll down a little bit further. Let's say it's Assurance One. This is the 5 to 30 amount. But you would just put in the client information. Again, the birth date. You can see here it's already solved for a client age, but we can play with the amounts. You can sit there and say, okay, ma'am, you're 74 years old. We can see here on your policy that you've got $4,000 worth of or $4,000 of cash value in this old policy. You can immediately punch it into the site, find out what that face amount would be with us. $4,000 of premium on this 76-year-old female buys this much of coverage. Now we just need to complete that application. So it's just like the assurance application, general information. The big difference here is we're going to fund it by a 1035. So from the forms section, you're just going to grab a couple of additional forms, and I'll give you an example here of what those look like. So Oxford Life, I'm going to write Assurance One. We're going to do it in Florida. And then it pops up a modified endowment, which means it's a MEC. It means it's taxed like an annuity if you access funds early and things like that. But it's considered a MEC contract. Here's the suitability form that goes with it, and here's the application. But down below it, you might also want to get the transfer of funds. This is going to be important because this is how we go. You get this form filled out, the 1035 exchange, send it in with the application, and now we're going to go and request the funds from XYZ carrier. That carrier sends us the money for it. And once we've got the money, the policy's issued. The client never has to touch it. They never pay taxes on it. They've now just got their paid up policy. And the underwriting process is identical to assurance. It's still that same point of sale decision. You still fill out the application while you're right there with your client. You just fill out the 1035 form along with it that allows us to go get the money from the current holding company.
And I want to stress this to people because this is, I'm telling you, Chad, this is a bigger product than a lot of people think it is. Because a lot of people, everybody's in their comfort zone, which is why, we want you on here, because we want people to get out of their comfort zone of what they're used to. And like you showed those rate sheets, I posted up on our chat line. I was like, dude, there's no reason why you shouldn't be offering Oxford. The prices are cheaper right out of the gate on. And you showed your sweet spot too, which was nice. But I want to stress this to people. You'll run across these more than you'll ever imagine by asking people about, if someone says, oh, I got a policy I've had in place for 30 years, hey, grab your policy. Let me see if we can, are you still making payments on it? Yeah, you're making payments after 30 years. Well, would you like to have a chance not to make those payments anymore? And you can offer them one of these policies. It's a very easy policy to sell to people. So, so thank you for explaining that. This is great. Any idea how you guys, because this is always obviously a sales guy's question, how are you guys paying on these policies, the single premium?
It's some of the most aggressive, I think, commission out there for a single premium option. It pays lump sum. So kind of similar to like an annuity payout, right? So we pay it based on the deposit amount. So if you transfer over $4,000, we pay on that full $4,000 deposit. And it really is a great commission. And again, still point of sale, still kind of quick, easy issue process for your client. You're right, Jerrod. That's the best way to go about this thing. We see it all the time, but clients that like to kind of brush off with that, hey, I've already got coverage. It's just asking a couple of those extra questions. Well, let's take a look at that coverage. What have you got? And the more you kind of dig into some of those policies, you find these cash values, or you find out policies that are in trouble, or maybe a client that can't afford future premiums, and that's where this product, again, kind of coined our rescue product, if you will, comes into play.
And last question, and then I'll stop asking you questions. But did I read that right, that you guys said on your final expense product that you actually have a cash accumulation on that? Because if that's the case, most final expense products do not. And I don't understand, Chad, I don't think people understand this. They do not accumulate any cash. So did I read that right? Are you guys accumulating cash?
We do. Yeah, it'll build up slowly on the final expense, but yes, you are most certainly accumulating cash value inside of the contract. Yes.
Yeah. See, that's big, because there's a lot of the companies that you labeled as our competitors that do not accumulate any cash, and I don't think a lot of agents understand that. So that's a big deal for a final expense product.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to Rachel and you.
Okay, great. Thanks again. Appreciate it, Jerrod.
Yeah, Chad, that was great information. We really appreciate it. And is there any way that we could get this PowerPoint sent out to me? Because, well, I'm sure people are going to want it. Yeah, that's awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thank you, Chad. It's been great. If we have any questions, I'll certainly send it your way. And I'll have the PowerPoint available to you guys soon. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.